I'm Gary.
This is Austin.
And this is Midwest Mike's coming back at you live with another episode. We are freshly back from Vegas. Gritty had other commitments tonight, so unfortunately was unable to make it, but he'll be back with us next week.
Yeah, we'll miss Gritty. Especially, we're going to talk about the WBC, but he has a lot of great insights on that, and I'm going to piggyback on some stuff that he posted on Facebook about it, because I think he's 100% right, and I think everyone's thinking the same type of deal for the WBC. So, but yeah, fresh from Vegas, it was a good time. Hit some big bets.
Yeah, we did, which we'll get into that when we talk March Madness. But yeah, WBC was actually a lot of fun. I've watched more of that than I have spring training. You know, I watched a little bit of the game last night, USA-Japan in the final. Last week after Gritty and I had done the show, he stayed and hung out, and we watched USA versus Canada, like the first 3 or 4 innings or something. But it was already like 11-0 or 11-1, something like that. USA was just blowing them out.
Yeah, USA got hot at the right time.
Yeah.
I think what they did, their first couple games were kind of whatever. Then they ended up getting hot, and the interesting thing about it is you get to see, last night we got to see arguably the 2 best players in the MLB square off against each other. I think it's without question that Ohtani is the best player in baseball right now. Right?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I mean, because he can hit and he can pitch.
Like really well.
Yeah.
Like really well. That slider, he throws, I think he goes 2 fastballs, both strikes, and then he tries to throw a slider, it looks like, and it goes outside. Or maybe it was a fastball, and then he goes for the slider and just got him. What's interesting about that is, if you think about it, is those dudes are on the same team, and that team sucks.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy, right? I mean, it just shows you, like, how hard it is to put together, like, a major league team.
Yeah, because you got
the talent's so spread out.
Yeah, and you got to have pitching, and you got to have a few other guys that are decent.
Because think about it, even though Ohtani's a lights-out pitcher, I mean, he can go every, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, and he still don't – and it's a rarity to have him pitch 9 innings.
Yeah.
So you have to bring in your middle reliever and then your
so, I mean, even if he gets a shutout through 4 innings, 5 innings, like, he's counting on a lot of other things to happen for him to get a win. I think it's just really hard.
And I think they usually go 5. So the interesting thing about it is before the WBC, I don't know if a lot of the USA would have recognized Mike Trout. Mm-hmm. And now if you saw him, you might, right?
Yeah,
a little bit more.
I know who he is, yeah.
So I'm going to piggyback off. Gritty talked about this on Facebook, and I thought it was a great post. And he's like, what does MLB have to do to get this dude to be a household name and to get the game of baseball back to being exciting and not going down in ratings?
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you look at your other leagues, right, like NBA and National Football League, I mean, those 2 specifically, each of them have guys that are on different teams, but if you saw, you're not a Cowboys fan, but if you saw Dak Prescott, you would know.
100%.
If you saw Jimmy Garoppolo, you would know.
100%.
Like, you would recognize him.
Even think about the worst teams.
If you saw LeBron James,
100%.
like, you would know who that is.
Think about even the worst teams. Like
if you saw Baker Mayfield.
I would 100% recognize Baker Mayfield. I would recognize Matthew Stafford. I would recognize, there's a lot of guys in the league, like worst teams. Probably, I don't know if I'd recognize Justin Fields, but like there's a lot of guys where you'd be like, yeah, I recognize them because the NFL is an expert marketing machine. I mean, we got the TV on while we're doing this show, and we're talking. It's not even right. We're not even in season.
Yeah,
we're talking NFL right now.
They're talking draft. Yeah, CJ Stroud.
So how does the MLB get to that point?
I mean, I think you've got to get those guys with more like major endorsements, right? I mean, like how did like Peyton Manning is a different story, right? Because he had a name. His dad had played in the NFL, this and that. But like Eli wasn't as big of a name when he was coming out. But then, with all the marketing and everything they do, like, it's just crazy. Justin Jefferson, I would recognize him.
Colin Kaepernick hasn't played for how many years, and you'd recognize him.
Yeah.
Like, you would recognize Cam Newton, and he hasn't played for 2 years. Like, there's a lot of guys who are like, they haven't played. They played for 5-6 years, you'd still go, oh, yeah. Like, I recognize you. Like, so it's one of those things where you go, I don't know if they got to get him in more commercials, or is one thing about it is Mike Trout and Ohtani, best players, right? Mm-hmm. Are they a victim of being on the West Coast? Because West Coast games get played super late.
That hurts too. Also, another thing that helps your NFL is, like, they're pretty much played at the same times every week, right? Like, right. Sunday you got for us, it's a noon window, 3 o'clock window. You got your night game, you got a Monday night game, and you got a Thursday night game.
That's it. And then later in the season, when college wraps up, you get Saturday games.
You get some Saturday games.
And a couple times a year, you get 2 Monday games. I think it's twice a year or maybe once a year.
So, but with baseball, too, and I get it. It's 162 games. They're playing a lot more. So it's harder to say, like, these are dedicated times. But even when I'm following the Royals closely, like, I always have to look up what time they play. Because I don't. It's always, like, varies, right?
Yeah, or it's one of those things too. I thought about it too, and I threw it out there, and it definitely won't happen because of revenue purposes. But I'm like, dang, like, less games would be great, like half. And
I think, you mentioned it right before we started. Like, that's one thing that made the WBC so much fun was because every game mattered,
big time.
Like, it wasn't. You get those games, especially for us here in Kansas City, where, like, in the middle of summer, like, you've got a stretch of 2 weeks of games in June that don't matter.
Well, dang, you know what what about this? And MLS does this. You have a mid-season tournament.
Yeah.
And you could structure it like WBC. So you could do like the top 2 teams from each division, and they do group play. And then you have a little mini tournament, and then they win some kind of championship in the midseason. That would still mean something.
Yeah.
Because you still had to play 81 games to get, like, to the point where you're in first or whatever. Soccer in Europe, they do this quite a bit. And I know you're not a huge soccer guy, but there's no doubt about that soccer is huge around the world, right?
And the World Cup is a event that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, World Cup's pretty fire. Like, Premier League has a mid-season deal. MLS has the Gold Cup, which is a mid-season deal. And those things get a little bit crazy. And so, like, they also allow, it's a way to qualify, and it's a big deal. One thing that will help baseball probably this year is gambling.
Yeah.
Big time. Like, if you're bored and there's a noon game, you're going to take a look at it and go, oh, shoot. Scherzer's pitching today. Let me get that Mets money line minus 135.
Yeah, and I know you like to do a lot of those, like, 5 innings.
I love first five.
Yes. First 5, yeah.
That makes games more exciting too because you're just going on the first 5 and you're pretty much betting on the starters instead of, like, I hope that 7th inning guy is good.
Yeah,
so that's a big deal too. But I think I enjoy baseball, but I definitely don't enjoy it as much as the NFL or the NBA.
Yeah, and I think it all boils down to, for me, just there's so many games. So
yeah,
not every game does mean something because obviously me being entrenched in a football world, like even in high school football, we play 8 regular season games and all 8 of them are important for how we're going to get seeded in week 9. So you're fighting for your seeding life. Even though everybody gets in the playoffs now in Kansas, it's just the way it is. But you're still fighting to get a better seed because just like anything else, you get a better seed, you get a better matchup. You get a better matchup, you got a better chance to win.
Yeah, even think about, what was I going to say? The college football is very even more meaningful than the NFL. Mm-hmm. You lose 2 games, you're going, I don't know if we can make this playoff.
Yeah.
Now, it's not next year, but 2 years.
2 years, we're going to expand.
You'll probably be able to lose 3, maybe 4, probably 3, and get in, right?
Yeah.
So that'll change a little bit, but still, losing only 3 games makes every game very important.
Yeah. And then kind of last thing on the WBC, I think another thing Major League Baseball should have done, or they need to find a way to do, is we have a lot of momentum right now in the baseball world because of that. Because USA made the final. Like, people are excited about it. So, I mean, why can't opening day be moved up? Or, like, why can't you figure out your schedule to where you start, like, pretty quickly after that? Like, and I know these guys got to travel home and get back with their clubs and all that, but, like, you've got momentum right now because I watched, I had my TV on, like, different sports talk shows all day long. And every one of them mentioned the World Baseball Classic. So you have momentum. Let's capitalize on it. And let's, and maybe you don't kick off your season, but maybe you have something that highlights 5 guys from each team.
One thing, too, is you could do stuff the NFL does, and NFL goes, oh, we're moving that team to prime time. Yeah. And so you move Trout and Ohtani. You move the Angels to prime time.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that hurts you, right, is the Angels aren't a great team. You literally have those 2 ballers, and then there's, like, nobody.
But, like, if Ohtani's pitching,
yes.
If his day to pitch is coming up on a Sunday,
prime time.
Like, let's move that sucker up to 7 p.m. Central.
That's Sunday night baseball, baby.
Sunday night baseball.
I don't care because I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in California. Like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like NFL just does a really good job, and that's MLB's got figured out.
Yeah, they
do. I want it to be good, and I want it to be exciting, and gambling, like, for sure will help, but we'll see, because you get midway through Royals season, and they've already lost 60 games, you go,
oh, yeah, you're like...
The season's halfway over, and they're smoked. So I'm like, I don't even want to watch it. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see, but overall, I think everybody gave the WBC an A grade.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge baseball guy, and I was entertained by it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
NFL free agency, since we've last talked, we're not going to hit all these names, but we can hit some of them.
We can hit some of the top guys that got signed, and then anybody else you want to highlight.
Yeah, let's Juju Smith-Schuster. Offset's a new one. Leaving Kansas City, he's going to New England. That got announced, I think, this afternoon?
Yeah, and what we can do also is we can, we were talking about it earlier, we can grade them. So you can say, good move, bad move, or let's wait and see, or wait and see. For Juju, I think it's a good move. I think Juju did well this year. I don't think it's a crazy contract. I'm glad he got paid. But it's a good move for New England.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for New England, too. I mean, they needed to get some more wide receivers. If Mac Jones is going to be the guy, then we got to get him some help. I don't think there was huge interest in Kansas City re-signing Juju. I mean, I think they would have for the right price, but this says he got, 25? 25.5? No, he didn't get that much.
What is he?
I don't know
what is that? Oh, that's total dollars.
Oh, okay. That's years and dollars. So he got, let's see, where'd he go?
There he is. 3 years, 25.
3 years, $25 million. So what's that, about 18 a year? 19? Or no, not 18.
8.
Yeah, about 8 a year. So, that's probably about right.
Yeah, I thought he would probably try to get like 11. What's this column right here, man? Check that out real quick. What is that? AAV? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
Whatever. We'll just go with the dollars. All right. Yeah, and I thought he actually might get a little bit more, but Myers kind of, Myers kind of set the market on that thing.
Yeah.
So, who else you want to bring up, man?
Adam Thielen to Carolina. I really like. We were talking before the show. I think Carolina's really made some good moves.
Like low key good moves. I think the coach move was a great move with Frank Reich. He never, besides Phillip Rivers and starting with Andrew Luck, he never really had a guy that was still good, because I think Carson Wentz was cooked, and I think Nick Foles definitely was, and then I think that Matt Ryan was done by the time he got there,
because
you could tell that game won.
Yeah, they signed Adam Thielen. They also signed Hayden Hurst, which I think is a really underrated tight end. 3 years, $21 million there. so about 7 per.
Switching gears real quick, just while we're talking about Carolina, do you think they go for CJ? Or do they go Bryce?
If I were them, I'd go C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young.
Height?
Yeah, height and I mean neither school has a great quarterback track record. Alabama or freaking Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah,
I guess
Ohio
Bama better track record lately.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts, would you say OU or
He's an OU guy.
He kind of came into his own more at OU, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right, let's move on to somebody else. Oh, I thought, I'm a yes. I thought Andrew Thielen was good.
Yeah. Thielen, definitely a good move. Juan Thornhill left Kansas City, went to Cleveland, 3 years, $21 million.
I'm gonna wait and see.
Wait and see. Yeah,
I don't think it was terrible, but I think it was more than we were willing to pay, especially when we have to save money and get younger. If you want to keep our stars,
some people
I'm okay with it.
Some people may get this as a shock, but Cleveland overpaid.
Big shocker. I definitely think they overpaid, but we can wait and see because they converted a ton of Deshaun's contract into so they could free up cap space. So they may be trying to overpay to shore up that defense a little bit. Mm-hmm. Anybody more down low, or is it mostly?
I mean, it's mostly. I think we talked about a lot of the big.
Robert
Woods.
Robert Woods to Houston, I think is actually a great pickup for them.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that's. I think it's great. He didn't cost a ton of money, and I think his upside's huge. And I like Robert Woods. I remember him being on the Niners.
Jared Stidham, we had talked about that last week. Gritty and I did a little bit. Brissett.
Actually, I like your old tight end going to Houston. I think that's a good deal for Houston.
Yeah, Schultz.
I think so far, actually, Houston's made a lot of good moves. Which is
and Schultz leaving Dallas will hurt that offense a little bit. Dallas did get Leighton Vander Esch re-signed, which I was happy about that.
I would be too, and not for a ton of money.
Yeah, he's a good, solid linebacker. Just his problem's been he hadn't been able to stay healthy.
Jacoby Brissett to
Washington.
Yeah, I think it's a great a 1 year.
1 year, $8 million.
Maybe overpaid.
Yeah,
because he ain't gonna be starting, or is he?
Yeah, I don't know who's going to start in Washington. I mean,
Sam Howell or Brissett. Is that the two guys?
Because they released Wentz, right?
Yeah, and Heineke signed with Atlanta.
Yeah, so
okay. What do you think about Heineke to Atlanta? For me, it's a wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see.
Because I'm like, was this guy a product of system, or is he? We'll find out. Okay, we may need to scroll back up to get to the
McCole Hardman.
Yeah, to the Jets. I don't know, man. 6.5 for 1 year. Actually, that's fair value. I think for like perfect contract for him would be like 1 for 10. So maybe it was a good deal. All right, let's scroll back to the top. Get the big names. Derek Carr.
Yep, we had talked about that last week.
Yeah, I think that's good. Had Garoppolo already signed with Vegas last week?
Yep.
What about Orlando Brown?
I don't remember if that had broke yet when we did, but I think it's a good signing for Cincinnati.
It is, and they're looking to trade their old left tackle now, so because he wants out, which I don't blame him.
Lazard to the Jets.
They overpaid him.
Yeah, they did.
So I'm a no on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good move.
He's you telling me because you're telling me he's worth more than like Juju? I doubt that.
Yeah, so that's the big names. So far, free agency. Obviously, we still have. Let's pull up the list of guys that are still available, and just see where we're at.
Okay, no one's signing.
All right, so Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Kenny Golladay, Bud Dupree, Byron Jones, Taylor Lewan.
Taylor Lewan's interesting, but he's hurt a lot, so
Yeah.
I think he'll be cheap for somebody.
Yeah,
Frank Clark,
Zeke, Frank Clark. I think somebody will end up signing Zeke.
Yeah, I think so too. You know what? Odds came out on him on where he would go.
Oh yeah,
Chiefs are third in odds, and I was like, sure, because we don't have McKinnon or nothing.
yeah.
He's on there somewhere.
Jadeveon Clowney.
He'll wait till OTAs are over.
Yeah.
I think Bobby Wagner's interesting for like a veteran guy because he didn't have a bad year. He just couldn't replace the guys they were missing.
Randall Cobb.
Yeah, Randall Cobb, probably Jets.
Akeem Hicks.
Leonard Fournette. No one's going to overpay for him.
No.
Bridgewater's probably
Bridgewater maybe get a backup job somewhere.
Yeah, as a backup, he's cool.
Calais Campbell. I could see somebody picking him up.
Kareem Hunt's interesting.
Yeah. Julio Jones.
I think he might be another guy that waits till OTAs are over.
Okay.
Like, right? Like, you're that age, you're like, I ain't trying to go through training.
Melvin Ingram.
Oh, yeah. I got that ring. That's funny. Justin Houston. I actually wouldn't mind bringing him back for a veteran thing.
For a veteran minimum?
What's his... Oh, they have market value on some of these guys. Click on his. I'm curious to see what that is. Market value.
5.3 million.
How many sacks did he have? I thought he actually... I want to show you stats. But I actually think he had like 6 or 7 sacks last year. So I'm like, sure.
Oh, here's stats.
Here we go. How many sacks? 9.5. 9.5.
9.5 last year.
That ain't bad. He's a pretty productive guy.
He was active for 14 games.
He's not going. He's not going to get back to the 22 sacks. But if he can give you on $5 million, he can even give you 6.
Yeah,
I'll take it. So if Houston wants to come back, I'd love having him back. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Somebody is going to sign him. He's probably another guy that says, "Yeah, I'll sign late. I'm not trying to do. I don't need to be doing all these workouts. I'm a vet."
Yeah,
which I don't.
And you kind of know what you're getting with those guys.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram.
No.
Nah, I think he's done.
Yeah. Anybody else? Kyle Rudolph. Nah, he'll get something.
Yeah.
Who is Chase Daniel done? He's a free agent.
Maybe. Jason Pierre-Paul, he's probably done.
Yeah. Bernard's done.
Yeah, Quan Alexander. Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah. He's 30 now, man. I don't know.
Running backs over 30, man, they say.
Unless you get him real cheap, because he's not your feature.
Yeah.
But, I guess one more thing we talk NFL would be if you had to pick for DeAndre Hopkins where he ends up, because rumors are Chiefs. But I believe when I get on Twitter, because of the things I've liked and retweeted, my Twitter's even Chiefs bias, right? Mm-hmm. So I see a lot of stuff about Chiefs and Hopkins and something. I think Arizona does move him. I don't know if it's Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Arizona definitely moves him.
You think do you think there is still a small chance he stays in Arizona, or you think it's kind of like
small chance, but I really think they're just waiting to see where where everything's going to fall, right?
Probably. And then if I was Hopkins, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to play with Murray anymore.
I wouldn't. I mean, I've said from day one I was not a fan of Kyler Murray, but
he's weird. He was my fantasy quarterback, and he gets you fantasy points, but he cannot win games.
He doesn't win games.
Like he'll get you points because he runs and he scores and he gets touchdowns, but this dude does not win games because I think situationally he's not there. So I'd love to see Hopkins on the Chiefs. I wouldn't love to see a huge extension. I'd like to see him just play out his contract. So that might be where the hang-up is. Mm-hmm. Chiefs got the draft picks to do it, so I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah.
But yeah, awesome. So I think that's it for NFL. You guys want to move on to the NCAA?
Yes. So the madness of March has begun. We were actually in Vegas, like we talked about, for the first 4 games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we watched every game all day long. And then Friday we were kind of roaming around. But shout out to the Stratosphere and the Mania of Hoops on the Strip. Like, that event at the Strat Theater was probably about the best you could have asked for.
We had front row seats. It's a theater room, and they had the tables set up. So it's weird. When you first got in there, you were like, man, I feel like these tables are tight. But I've never felt too tight.
No.
was weird, right? I thought the setup was going to be tight, and it wasn't. Big screen in front of you, and then two like not all the way on the side, but beside the big screen. And then what they would do is on that big screen, they could put multiple games on that screen. I thought they did a really good job of that. All you can eat, all you can drink. It was a couple $100 from 8 to 8, and then but it says 8 to 8. But after 8, they let us stay in there and finish the games. It's just that the food and the drinks weren't available. But for food, it was nachos. It was these wings that were great.
Mac and cheese
that was really good with like bacon on the side and breadcrumbs. So you could kind of do whatever you want with that.
Hot dogs
you could make a chili dog with the cheese.
Chili cheese dogs.
I mean, it was really, really good. I would give that place an A+ on that event.
Yes. So if you were going to Vegas, and by the way, they're not paying us. They didn't give us a discount on our tickets.
I wish.
But if you're going to Vegas for March Madness, I would, and you're looking for somewhere to watch all the games all day, I would definitely recommend doing your research. And, the Strat event, Hoops on the Strip, was really cool, and I would check it out. And if it's something that fits in your budget, like I said, we had a table for 4 that was $800. So
yeah, it was awesome.
And the food was never empty. The server, it was a little hard to get a server like as the day went on, but you could always just walk up to the bar and grab a drink. Like they never gave me any problem.
Yeah, and that would take you 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean it was real quick.
Yeah, everything about it was quick and good and fast. And I actually thought what the server was dealing with, I thought he did a good job too.
Oh yeah, he did great. It's just as many tables, so I would say maybe have like 2 more servers or something, like split it out more. But
yeah, that's probably my only, and not even a real complaint.
No,
the only thing because
I'd still A+, man.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
And they did a really good job of like as games were winding down to make sure that was where the focus was, like on the big screen. And then they'd have like games just starting kind of out to the side and then move them in. And they had the audio on for like whichever game was coming down to the wire. So, and they had a guy kind of in charge of moving all that around in the back. He did a really good job. So
yeah, they definitely did a good job. And then if a game was like a blowout, they definitely did a good job not emphasizing that game.
Yeah.
Like all right, we're moving on to the other one. Yeah.
So Thursday, there's a lot of great games. Thursday, Friday, I got the bracket pulled up. I was going into it. I said last week I didn't really trust anybody in the Big Ten. There's one team out of the Big Ten left, and that's Michigan State.
And I don't trust them.
Yeah, and they just have a really good coach, right?
Absolutely.
They went on a really good run. So Alabama was a team, obviously overall number 1 seed, still alive. They play San Diego State coming up this weekend in the Sweet 16. Alabama beat Texas A&M, Community College, and Maryland.
Or Corpus Christi,
yeah.
Those green uniforms.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember those guys?
Yeah. And we actually made money. I bet on Alabama to cover that day.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you did. Yeah.
I did bet on West Virginia to beat Maryland, which obviously did not, because I was fading the Big Ten, but...
Yeah, that was a really good game.
It was. Creighton got a win the first day over NC State. I think we had all picked that one.
Yep. What was our team ride? Was the team ride on Baylor?
I think our team ride was Baylor. They won the first day.
We team ride Creighton. I think it was -5.5 or -5.
Oh, yeah, team ride. That was the second day.
Yeah, team ride on Creighton.
Creighton,
I remember we were eating at Earl's Sandwich.
Yes, which shout out to them, too.
Best sandwiches. And
man, we need to get paid from these guys.
Hook us up. So we were there, like, figuring out these games, and these guys asked us, they were like, what's your lock? And we all were like, it's Creighton -5 or 5.5. I think that's what we ended up getting it. Oh, yeah, Creighton? I was like, dude, Creighton are ballers, man. They're a bunch of ballers. And I'm like, I don't trust Baylor because Baylor is that team where you're like, they're either going to give you the best performance ever or they get you nothing.
Yeah.
And actually, they played pretty well, but Creighton ended up getting them by 10. I think is that 10?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was Creighton plus 5.5 because Baylor was the favorite.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
because Baylor was the 3. It was plus 5.5.
Easy money.
Yeah. So you got Creighton and Princeton. Like we said, Creighton had beat Baylor and NC State. Princeton beat Arizona in what was probably the biggest upset of the tournament at that point when Princeton beat Arizona. And then they also beat Missouri. So
You know what? And they beat Missouri pretty handily, and they beat Arizona by 4. So I want to see that line.
yeah,
Because if I can get Princeton plus 5, plus 6.
I mean, it's kind of a toss-up, right? Like, I think that's one that's going to be somewhere around 3.
I think so.
Like 2.5, 3.
Here, I'm going to look it up while we talk about the next game.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
So, yeah, Creighton, Princeton. Let's see. We got FAU and Tennessee, which Fairleigh Dickinson. What's the line? What's the line before we get into Fair Dick?
Princeton's plus 10.
Wow.
That's a lot to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's probably their first time ever in the Sweet 16.
I'll keep this pulled up so I can tell you who the favorite is.
So, anyway, we got Purdue. Like I said, I was fading the Big Ten, okay? We had flown in like Tuesday night. Wednesday, we're looking at lines. And Fairleigh Dickinson was playing in a play-in game. And I go, guys, this team's going to win a couple games. So, that night, Austin bet Wednesday. This was Wednesday against Fair Dick. They played Texas Southern.
Texas Southern.
Austin took +3 or -3.
+3.
+3. I took the money line. Okay, Fairleigh Dick won. Then when we found out they were going to play Purdue, I was like, they're going to beat Purdue.
Yeah, because
That's
you're
16-1. Fade
you were
Big Ten.
You were a fade Big Ten. I took them, but I took the spread, so I got plus 22.5. I think is what it was. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's halftime, and I'm looking at my 22, going, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. And then Gary didn't realize. Actually, I think it went all the way down to the end. Right?
It went down kind of the end. I mean, they had a lead of like 2 or 3, but came down to free throws. But yeah, so Fairleigh Dickinson made us money in that first round game against Purdue.
What was the next game you're bringing up? Arkansas?
No, FAU and Tennessee. What's that line?
FAU, Tennessee. You can get Tennessee's -5.5.
Okay, I like that. I like Tennessee.
I do too.
So Duke got bounced by Tennessee. Duke was a team I was anxious to watch. Next game we'll talk about here is Kansas State, Michigan State. This one's really interesting.
Michigan State's -1.5. Give me K-State plus 1.5.
I'd probably take K-State money line because what's -1.5 odds?
That's true. You get odds. You get -110. Money line, you get plus 105.
So I'd probably take the plus 105 instead of the 1.5. But I like K-State. Like I said, fading the Big Ten. I'm going to keep fading the Big Ten. It's worked out for me so far.
I know I'm looking at alternate spreads right now.
Yeah.
Minus, like I say, if you want to take, it depends on how much you think they're going to win by. But like a K-State -5 is plus 195.
Oh, man.
I know. I would look at that too.
Yeah.
A little something on there. So I don't know. I'm going to be on it on something. So
yeah. And Kansas State beat Montana State and Kentucky to get where they are. Michigan State beat USC and Marquette.
yeah. So I actually trust the track record from K-State a little more.
Yeah. And I think Big 12 was overall the better conference this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though, Big 12 has 2 teams left in the 16. They kind of did not show up. KU got bounced early.
I think who's got the most? SEC?
Yeah.
3.
Houston and Miami. What do you got on that one?
Houston, Miami is we get Houston -7.
Okay.
Right now it's like what do you think? Right now it's like kind of a stay away for me. Or
Yeah.
throw Houston in a some kind of parlay.
Yeah.
Because the money line on that Houston is -325. So if you throw it in a parlay with something else, that ain't bad.
Yeah. That's not terrible. I didn't think Miami would get this far. So I'll probably stay away from that one just because I'm kind of biased against them.
Right. You know what? I had success with over-unders too, so I'll kind of look at those also.
And then we have Xavier in Texas.
Let's see here.
Xavier beat Pitt and Kennesaw State. They are a 3 seed. Texas beat Penn State and Colgate.
Texas minus 4.5.
I like Texas in that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Texas is one of the teams I think could win it all.
Yeah.
So I'm big on them. I mean, my two teams, there's probably, when I'm looking through it, I'm like, dang, I feel like there's 3 teams where I feel really, really good about them possibly winning it all.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Houston, Texas, Bama. But then, like, if someone's like, UCLA is going to do it, I'd be like, well, they're about to have a good, is that the next game?
Yeah, so, well, Arkansas, UConn. Arkansas did upset Kansas in the previous round. What's that line?
You get UConn minus 4.
Okay. UConn beat St. Mary's, and they beat Iona.
Actually, those are both pretty solid wins.
Yeah.
Iona's one of those teams where Joey was doing his, like, Joey would do these parlays where they're heavy favorites. Iona was in quite a bit of them because the conference they're in, they kind of ball out in there. St. Mary's, to me, is not a slouch. So I think that's a really good win. So I feel like I want to lean more towards, like, UConn because I feel like Arkansas might have, like, played their best game against KU.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I don't know if UConn's played their best game yet. So I don't know. I would kind of lean towards that or a UConn money line in like a parlay or something.
Yeah. And then the last game listed on here is Gonzaga UCLA. What's the line there?
UCLA minus 1.5. Probably end up being the best game.
Yeah, I'll probably go with UCLA in that one to cover and win. They beat UNC Asheville, and then they beat Northwestern, which I think is 2 pretty good wins there. Gonzaga beat Grand Canyon and TCU.
Yeah.
Which TCU, that's a quality win.
100%. Grand Canyon, not so much. But I don't know. It's a good game. These are 2 teams that I've put a decent amount of money on this year, especially when I'm following like I said, Joey does heavy favorite parlays. When I follow those, there's a lot of nights where Gonzaga and UCLA were in those parlays. So.
Yeah. So if I'm going to pick, let's pick our final 4 from each region here.
Okay.
So let's just start since right now we are in the West. So you got Gonzaga, UCLA, Arkansas, UConn. Which one team's coming out of that? I'm going UCLA.
Yeah, I'll take UCLA also.
I'm going UCLA in the Final 4. In the Midwest, you got Houston, Miami, Xavier, and Texas. Which one team's coming out of
Give
that?
me Texas.
Texas? I'm going Texas also. Just because I don't think Houston can get it done. And like I said, I haven't been high on Miami from the beginning. In the East, you got Michigan State, Kansas State, FAU, and Tennessee.
Give me K-State.
All right, you're going with the home team. I'm going to go with Tennessee here. I just think that...
I was thinking about them too.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's probably the better team. I would love to see Kansas State get there.
That'd be cool.
It'd be cool, but I'm going Tennessee. And then finally in the South, you got Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, and Princeton.
Give me Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going Alabama. All right, Nani making an appearance. My dog. You guys can probably hear her. Hey. See, I got Alabama also. So, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, and UCLA for me. Final 4 out of the 16.
Well, the only difference one we had was
you had K-State
instead of Tennessee.
Instead of Tennessee.
Yeah, and there's only a couple other teams I think have a shot. To me, UConn, and then Tennessee, like you chose. Other than that, I think everything else is pretty. I mean, I hate writing off Gonzaga, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, somebody going in and winning 2 games this weekend, you're in the Final 4. It's not out of the realm for any of them.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Princeton's the weirdest team because they literally just play the same game. So if you're off at all, they'll beat you. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that sounds weird. It sounds kind of cliche, but like they literally are seniors because they're from Princeton. So it's all seniors. No one's leaving for the league, and then it's guys that are sharp and smart and they play fundamental ball. Like I said, they don't turn the ball over. Another reason why I like Texas a lot, actually, too. Texas is a lot of senior classmen, but anyways, I think it's been good. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Which every year it's always really good, and we'll see what happens. But if I had to choose one team, I'm going with Texas.
Yeah, and I will throw this out there too. This is the first weekend that I did not really pay attention to the XFL at all, other than the St. Louis game.
But didn't we team
rode St. Louis, but we got beat.
For some reason, I thought we bet on Houston, but I don't think so. No, we didn't. Did we?
I don't.
Houston -5.
Oh yeah, we did bet on Houston, but I don't think we ended up watching it.
Yeah,
we were moving around.
And I think we lost both.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think we missed on both of our XFL games.
Might have. But yeah, I think it was just partly because we were in Vegas, partly because there was the NCAA tournament going on. So. But yeah. So you're taking. So we got our Final Four. Did you say you're taking Texas to win it all?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go UCLA.
Gotcha. I'm gonna see futures real quick, because I bet it wouldn't even be your favorite. Actually, you know what's? Oh man, your favorites go Bama, Houston, UCLA, UConn, then Texas.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, that's one of those things. Gonzaga's, and then the of course, the lowest. You want to get Princeton at a plus 18,000. That would be something.
Tell you what, if Fairdick would have got out the first weekend, I probably would have took a future on him for $1.
For $1? 100%. You would feel like a fool if you didn't.
Yeah.
You think about it and you don't do it, and you go, oh my God, I didn't even do that. So
Vegas was awesome. We had a great time. I think most of our sports bets were actually pretty good.
Yeah, we did. I did. The only day I didn't win on where I bet heavy was because I didn't bet heavy on the first. Of course, we got there Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I didn't have nothing going on Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't have nothing going.
And then
Wednesday, Thursday, I made money both days.
Wednesday, I don't remember what I did Wednesday. Oh, Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah,
I think I just
Friday. Oh yeah, Wednesday, Friday was Fairleigh Dickinson.
We had Fairleigh Dickinson. I think that was the only game I might have bet on. No, maybe. Yeah, I think so. And then
Friday we had a bunch of games.
Thursday I came out ahead because I did all underdogs, and I got ahead by like a little bit thanks to Princeton. Friday I killed it. I hit a 5-leg parlay, killed that, and I individually bet them all, so I killed it Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday was a lost day for me. Mm-hmm. I didn't make no money on Saturday.
Saturday was a tough betting day. I made some money, but I made it playing craps, not betting on games.
Yeah, and you know what? It was crazy, man. Going into Saturday, I saw a stat that said unders were like they had hit like 75%.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, I didn't bet no unders. I should have went that instead of the underdogs. But overall, great time. We had an awesome time out there. It was a blast. Can't wait to do it again. Yep. And we may do it again next year. We'll see.
Yeah. As always, hit us up on all the social media links. They're all under Midwest Mics. Just search that. Find us, MIDWEST, MICS. And let us know what you think of the show, what you think of our Final Four picks. I'm sure Gritty will post his at some point.
Yeah,
he's a lot better than us about posting his stuff early and getting it out there. So
for sure,
I'm sure he'll get it out there. He's got a couple mock drafts too for the Chiefs and stuff. So if you're into that type content, also, then make sure to check out his social media, which is linked on our Midwest Mike stuff. But I'm Gary.
This is Austin.
And this has been Midwest Mics. We'll see you guys next week.